Let's continue with the Pinstripe Ghost. Ballpark Mystery 2, Chapter 6, The Troublemakers. Kate and Mike hurried down the service hallway and back to the main corridor. "Hey kids!" Someone had seen them leaving the storeroom. "Over here!" They turned around. It was Bud, waving them over to his hot dog stand. "Hey, I'm glad I caught you," he said. "I just thought of something. What do you say when you meet a ghost?" Before either one of them could answer, Bud pounded the counter. "How do you boo?" he said. "Get it? How do you boo?" Kate rolled her eyes. Thanks, Bud," she said. "That's good. Have you heard the ghost lately?" "No," Bud said, "but I just remembered. I have a message for you. From the ghost." Kate raised her eyebrows. "You do?" she asked. "From the ghost?" "Well, not really, but it is from the ghost expert," Bud replied. "Mr. Williams stopped by. He knew you two were looking around earlier. He wanted me to tell you that ghost hunting isn't for kids. But if you stop by his autograph table, he'll have something special for you." Mike tugged on Kate's sleeve. Thanks for the message, Bud. "Maybe we'll see you later," he said. "Okay," Bud said. "Come back after the game if you want a hot dog." "Mr. Williams must have seen us sneaking into the room," Mike said when they were out of earshot of Bud. "What should we do?" "No, he didn't," Kate said, shaking her head. "He's talking about when I bumped into him before the game. I'll bet he's just trying to scare us off the trail." "You mean scare us off his trail," Mike said. "He was in the storeroom just before we heard the ghost. Maybe he put something in that vent to make noise or blow cold air. Nobody would suspect him because he's storing his books back there." Kate nodded. "We should stake out that storeroom tomorrow and see if it happens again." Kate and Mike were soon back in their seats near third base. It was the top of the 9th inning. There were no outs yet. Seattle had just scored 2 runs, but the Yankees were still ahead 5-2. With his first swing, one of Seattle's best batters hit a high foul ball down the first baseline. On the next pitch, he hit another high-flying foul ball. This one soared back toward Mike and Kate's seats. Mike jumped up. I've got it, he yelled, and he stretched to catch the ball. The ball sailed right over him. "Bummer," Mike said. In the next section over, a little boy in a Yankees uniform tried to catch the ball in his small glove. A red-headed teenager snagged the ball instead. He held the ball up. The fans around him clapped and whistled. Then the redhead turned and gave the little boy the baseball that he had caught. The boy waved the baseball around just like the teenager had, and the nearby fans all cheered for him. "Hey, isn't that Sammy, the guy who called you Mickey Mantle?" Kate asked. She pointed to the red-haired teenager. Mike nodded. "Yep, that's Sammy," he said. "But he's a dummy. If I caught a ball, I'd keep it. It's probably worth $75. "I think it was nice of him," Kate said. "That little kid is really happy and..." Suddenly Mike waved his hand to quiet her. "Shh," he said. He leaned toward the aisle. He was trying to listen to an usher. She was talking to a fan on the other side of the aisle. Kate listened too. "So like I said, be careful," the usher told a fan in a striped shirt. "Babe Ruth's ghost is haunting the stadium." The usher started to head down the stairs, but Mike waved to her. She stopped next to them. "Yeah, we just heard you talking about a ghost," Mike said. "Have you seen the one at Bud's hot dog stand?" "I know that Bud has been telling people about it," the usher said, "but I think it's just a scary story he made up. That's not the real ghost at all." "Oh," Kate said. "It sounded kind of real to us." The usher leaned forward. "Can you keep a secret?" Mike and Kate nodded. "Like I was just telling that other fan, the real ghost is the ghost of Babe Ruth. He's walking around the stadium," the usher said. "I've seen him in an old-fashioned pinstripe uniform before games. Sometimes he's in the stands. Once he was in the dugout. but he vanishes every time I try to get a good look at him. Mike sucked his breath in. Kate was about to ask another question, but the usher took a step away from them. I'm sorry, you'll have to excuse me, she said, looking back over her shoulder. I see a couple of troublemakers over in section 226. They're always trying to sit in someone else's seats. When the usher left, Kate grabbed Mike's arm, her eyes wide. Wow, she said, that sounds like the guy you saw in Monument Park. Maybe it's the same ghost that's haunting Bud's hot dog stand. The usher had reached section 226. To Mike's surprise, she went right over to Sammy and his friends. She spoke to them. Then Sammy rummaged through his pockets. He held out his empty hands. The usher motioned for him and his friends to leave the seats. Sammy and his friends headed into the stands, and the usher watched them go. Then she turned around to help other fans. Did you see that? Mike asked Kate. Sammy? Just then the crowd roared to life. All around Mike and Kate, fans stood up and started clapping. Mike checked the scoreboard. It was still the top of the 9th inning. The Mariners had 2 outs now, but they had runners on all the bases. The count was 3 balls, 2 strikes. One more strike and the game would be over. But a home run would score 4 runs and put the Mariners 1 ahead. Then the Yankees would have just one more turn at bat. The Yankees pitcher put his head down. He stared at the catcher. He shook off one sign after another. The fans clapped louder. They wanted that last out. Finally, the pitcher got a call he liked. He stood up straight, cupped the ball in his glove, reeled back, and let the ball fly. The Mariners' batter swung hard. The bat slammed into the ball. The clapping stopped. The stadium was quiet. The ball flew high into center field. The fans groaned, and one after the other, the Mariners' base runners scored. The ball plummeted into Monument Park. The batter crossed home plate. It was a grand slam. 4 runs for Seattle. The Yankees fans slumped in their seats. Now they needed at least 1 run to tie the game. Otherwise, they would lose. There's a picture of the grand slam. Luckily for the Yankees, the next Seattle batter popped out. The Yankees had 1 more chance to tie the game or get ahead, but they weren't able to. 3 strikeouts later, the game was over. Seattle had won. Mike shook his head sadly as they got up to leave. They were so close, he said. If only that Seattle batter hadn't hit a grand slam. I know, Kate said. There's always tomorrow's game, and if we hurry, we can stop by the souvenir stand to buy a shirt before we meet my mother. A few minutes later, they were standing in line at the souvenir shop near the food court. Kate had a dark blue New York Yankees shirt in her hand. Whoosh! The air vent above them came on full blast. A rush of cool air blew through the shop. Mike jumped. Wow, that's cold, he said. Maybe you should buy a Yankees jacket instead of a shirt. Those vents come on fast. Kate grabbed Mike's arm. That's it. The air conditioner vent, she said. It's just like the subway grates on the sidewalk. Remember how the subway train pushed all that air up through the sidewalk vents? Yes, so it looked funny when I jumped a little bit, Mike said. But it was a whole lot funnier when you dropped that package of eggs at my house because my father scared you. You're missing the point, Mike, Kate said. The ghostly chill, remember? What if the cold air in the air conditioning vent near Bud's hot dog stand got pushed out all at once? It would be just the same as when the subway train went by. It would feel like a ghost, Mike said. But why would that happen? Do you think the subway next to the stadium is doing it somehow? No, but what if the other end of that vent was outside? It's still spring, so it's colder outside the stadium, Kate said. Maybe someone opened up the other end of the vent. That would let in a rush of cold air all at once, like a ghost. So that's why Bud always feels the chill and then hears the noise. Mike said. But who is opening the air conditioning vent? I'm not sure, but there's one way to find out, Kate said. Let's get here early before tomorrow's game. I think I know how to solve the mystery. And that's the end of chapter 6.